Good morning, students. Last class we discussed about seeds, types of seeds, several shapes that are found in seeds, seeds of varied color, and we saw how seeds are formed and how they are structured. This class we shall see the most important quality of a seed, that is germination. Germination is the emergence of embryo from seed. The protrusion of radicle from seed coat can be an indication of germination for most practical purposes. But for a seed technologist, mere emergence of radicle only indicates the viability of seed, but will it be able to establish in the field? Because a farmer is not interested in mere emergence of radicle, he is more interested in crop establishment. So that whatever inputs like labor, water, fertilizer, pesticides he has used will be utilized by the crop and provides him with higher yield and remuneration. Hence, a farmer will desire better emergence of the embryo and establishment of the seedling in the field than protrusion of radicle alone. So, what is germination? Germination is a process by which a plant grows from a seed. Germination is defined as the emergence and development from the seed embryo of those essential structures which, for the kind of seed in question, are indicative of the ability to produce a normal plant under favorable conditions. Thus, germination not only indicates the emergence of radicle and plumule or epicotyle, but also describes the essential parts of the seedling which must possess essential structures that indicates its ability to establish in the field. It is also defined as the resumption of active growth of the embryo resulting in the rupture of seed coat and emergence of a young plant. This definition presumes that the seed has been in a state of quiescence or rest after its formation and development. During this period of rest, the seed is relatively inactive state and has a low rate of metabolism. It can remain in that state until environmental conditions trigger the resumption of active growth. Now, let us see what are the essential requirements for seed germination. The most important requirement we know is water. Without water, seeds cannot germinate. Water is required for hydration of seed, enzymatic activity, cell division and elongation. The most important requirement is air. Air contains oxygen and germinating seeds require oxygen for initiation of metabolic activity, breakdown of stored food for energy. Without proper aeration, radicle will not emerge from seed coat. The third most important requirement is temperature. The temperature must be optimum. If the temperature is very high, then seeds will emerge very fast and even wither. The last is substrata. As the radicle emerges from seed, it has to anchor into a substrata for further growth. In agriculture, seeds are sown in soil, which acts as a substrata and provides nourishment. The fields are irrigated after sowing to enable the seed to imbibe and a gap period of a day is allowed. During this time, air enters the soil and provides oxygen for the metabolically active seed. The life irrigation is given on the third day for the seedling to emerge from soil. The crop seasons are selected in such a way that temperature is optimum for seed germination. Thus, traditionally kharif crops are sown in June July after receipt of southwest monsoon, and rabi crops are sown during October November. The soil temperature during this season is around 25 to 30 degrees centigrade, which is optimum for germination of crop seeds. Earlier, we saw that germination incorporates all those events that commence with the uptake of water by the quiescent dry seed and terminates with the elongation of embryonic axis. This visible sign of germination is usually the penetration of the structures surrounding the embryo by the radicle and emergence of the radical tip outside the seed. Subsequent events, including the mobilization of major storage reserves, are associated with the growth of seedling. Now, let us see about the events that results in seed germination. A seed remains still until it is hydrated. Upon hydration, the seeds become active and germination follows through a series of events like seeds store all the ingredients to supply a growing embryonic axis such as carbohydrates, lipids and proteins. When a mature seed is exposed to moisture, it absorbs moisture through a process called imbibition. As a result of imbibition and osmosis, the embryo becomes hydrated, which activates the enzymes for respiration. The major regions of activity are the storage tissues, which is the endosperm and cotyledons, and the growing axis, which is represented by the embryo. Digestion of stored food by enzymes occurs by hydrolysis, leading to production of amino acids, sugars, fatty acids and glycerol. These soluble products are then translocated to the growing embryonic axis. The digestion process leads to reduction in seed weight as sugars are converted into energy, carbon dioxide and water, where carbon dioxide is lost as gas and oxygen taken up by the aerobic respiration. Within the embryo, growth occurs by cell division and amounts of protein, cellulose, nucleic acid steadily increase in the growing regions of the seed. The first visible sign of growth is that of the radicle that emerges through the micropyle and is positively geotropic in nature. It forms the root system of the plant. The next structure that emerges is the plumule that moves in the opposite direction of the radicle and emerges above the ground. Within few days, the root system firmly anchors the plant, while the primary leaves start producing food through photosynthesis. So, what are the various types of germination? Based on the presence of cotyledon above the ground or below the ground, the germination is classified into two modes, that is epigeal and hypogeal. In epigeal germination, the cotyledon is thrusted above the ground and visible, while in hypogeal germination the cotyledon is concealed in the ground. Now, let us see the epigeal germination. Epigeal germination is characteristic of dicots. It is considered evolutionarily more primitive than hypogeal germination. During epigeal germination, after radical emergence and establishment, the hypocotyle elongates as an arch, breaks through the soil, pulling the cotyledon and the enclosed plumule through the ground and projecting them above the ground. The cotyledons split open to reveal the epicotyle, and the epicotyle continue to grow and photosynthesize, while the cotyledons wither and fall to the ground. As the name indicates, epi means above and geo means earth. So, this type of germination is called epigeal. The next type is the hypogeal germination. Hypogeal germination is characteristics of monocot and some dicots like red gram, chickpea, peas, palm and many other species. During germination, the cotyledons remain beneath the soil, while the epicotyle pushes the plumule upward and that emerges above the ground. Regardless of their above ground or below ground locations, the cotyledons or comparable storage organs continue to provide nutritive support to the growing points throughout germination. Here also, as the name indicates, hypo means below, geo means earth, hence the term hypogeal. Even though germination is a single rapid event that results in formation and establishment of seedling, if observed very closely, three distinct phases can be visualized. They are 1. Imbibition phase, 2. Latent phase, 3. Exponential growth phase. We shall see what happens in each phase. The imbibition phase is the first phase. In this phase, seeds imbibe water from surroundings. This is a physical phase and energy is not involved. In agriculture, as and when the seeds are sown and covered by soil, the seed absorbs moisture from soil colloids. This is the reason why the soil is ploughed into the fine tilt, so that soil colloids will hold moisture and provide to seeds. Water permeates through the seed coat and the seed material inside is moistened. This causes the seed to swell, putting pressure on seed coat. All parts of a germinating seed become soft and smooth in this phase. The next phase is the latent phase. Imbibition phase is followed by latent phase. The hydration of seed and entry of oxygen leads to respiration and release of hormones. These hormones trigger synthesis of starch degrading enzymes, protein and fat hydrolysis. This is a time consuming process. So, seeds remain still or latent. The seeds are metabolically active and there is release of heat. This stage makes the seed steady for sprouting. Since the seed remains still, it is called latent phase and it is also the link between imbibition phase and emergence of radicle from seed. The next phase or the third phase is the exponential growth phase. This phase, it is the most active and visible phase that culminates with the emergence of radicle from seed. The breakdown of stored food into sugars, amino acids and fatty acids are used by the actively dividing embryonic axis. Growth hormones like auxins guide the elongation of root, which emerges through the micropyle and enters the soil, while the epicotyle grows towards light. This process continues till the germination of seed into seedling is complete. Until the leaves are fully developed and become photosynthetically active, growth of seedling is sustained by the reserve food material, water and oxygen from air. Once leaves start to photosynthesize using carbon dioxide and water, the seedling becomes autotrophic. Thus, seed germination process ends with the formation of seedling, which grows into a big plant. So far, we saw what is germination, the definition of germination and the process involved in germination, and also the three phases of germination. The next most important topic which we are going to deal in this session is about dormancy. We all know that some seeds, even though they are provided with all the necessary essential materials like water, air will still not germination. Now, why do some seeds do not germinate? However, in practice we find that some seeds do not germinate even after providing adequate amount of water, air and right environment. Such seeds are called dormant seeds. Now, let us see what is dormancy, its causes and methods to overcome dormancy. Dormancy is a term used to describe a temporary suppression of visible growth of any plant organ containing an apical meristem or embryonic axis. A seed is said to be dormant when it fails to germinate even when it is provided a favorable environmental conditions. There are two types of situations when seeds fail to germinate. Based on the situation, the type of dormancy is noticed. One type is known as quiescence. Quiescence is a phenomenon where the seeds remain as such because they are not provided with adequate conditions like water, temperature or air for germination. For example, seeds in storage are said to be quiescent. The other type is called dormancy, which occurs when seed remains ungerminable even though it is provided with suitable conditions. There are several types of dormancy. Based on the degree of dormancy and its nature, dormancy can be divided into several types. The first type of dormancy is called primary dormancy. Primary dormancy is induced during seed development, resulting in seeds that are dormant when dispersed from the mother plant itself. Among the primary dormancy, there are 5 types. They are physiological dormancy, morphological dormancy, morphophysiological dormancy, physical dormancy and combinational dormancy. Let us see one by one. The first one is physiological dormancy. This is the most abundant form of seed dormancy in angiosperm plants. Physiological dormancy is caused by a physiological inhibiting mechanism or PIM in abbreviated form. The examples are Arabidopsis thaliana, tobacco, sunflower, tomato, oats and many cereal species. Depending on the degree or strength of dormancy, the physiological dormancy is again divided into 3 types. They are non-deep, intermediate and deep. In non-deep dormancy, seed can be germinated by infusing gibberellic acid hormone. These seeds generally tend to germinate after a period of storage. The embryonic axis excised from seeds will germinate if placed on a growth medium. Cold or warm stratification can promote germination and scarification may sometimes promote germination. In case of intermediate types, most of the seeds will not respond to gibberellic acid infusion. However, the excised embryos will produce normal seedling. Seeds may require 2 to 3 months of cold stratification for breaking the dormancy. Storage may not promote germination, but will reduce the time taken for cold stratification. The third type or the deep dormancy on the other hand is unresponsive to gibberellic acid treatment and excised embryos will also show dormancy, and prolonged cold stratification that can last up to 4 months alone can relieve such deep dormancy. The next or the major dormancy is the morphological dormancy. As the term indicates, the dormancy is due to embryo morphology. Hence, this class of seed dormancy refers to seeds with underdeveloped or undifferentiated embryos. This also includes embryos in which cotyledons and hypocotyle and radical axis are differentiated, but are small in size. These embryos do not have physiological dormancy and only require additional time to grow and germinate. Under favorable conditions, embryos in such seeds begin growth within a period from a few days to several weeks, and seeds germinate within 30 days. Celery seed is an example of morphological dormancy. The third type is the morphophysiological dormancy, wherein seeds have embryos that are underdeveloped and undifferentiated, as well as physiological component to their dormancy. Thus, to germinate, these seeds require time for embryo growth and dormancy breaking treatment. The fourth class of dormancy is called physical dormancy. The seeds belonging to this class have dormancy caused by one or more water impermeable layers of palisade cells in the seed coat that impede entry of water into seeds and thus prevent germination. Chemical or physical aberration by a process called scarification of the water impermeable layers can break physical seed dormancy. Seeds with physical dormancy are commonly called hard seeds, and this class of dormancy is typically found in seeds belonging to families Fabaceae, Malvaceae, Chenopodiaceae and Liliaceae. The fifth class of dormancy is called combinational dormancy. Here, seeds belonging to this class possess simultaneous physiological and physical dormancy. In this case, physiological dormancy is generally characterized as non-deep. A cold stratification treatment of seeds after scarification to permit imbibition is a common dormancy breaking treatment for this class of seeds. So, students, we saw that primary dormancy is mainly due to the structures within the seeds like undeveloped embryos or thick seed coat. Since this was due to primary causes, that is the seed itself, the dormancy is called primary dormancy. There is another type of dormancy called the secondary dormancy, which on the other hand it is induced by unfavorable environmental conditions following the shedding of mature non-dormant seeds from the mother plant. There are three types of secondary dormancy. The first one is called the thermodormancy, which is caused by prolonged exposure of imbibed seeds to temperatures unfavorable for germination, which is generally high temperatures. The second type is called scotodormancy, which is induced in light requiring seeds which are imbibed and placed in dark for extended periods of time at higher temperatures. The third one is called photodormancy, which occurs in seeds that are inhibited by life when they are exposed to excess of light. Secondary dormancy is not only induced in non-dormant seeds, but also in seeds that are already have some form of primary dormancy. An example to be quoted here will be the lettuce seed. Lettuce seed that requires light to germinate is said to be photosensitive, and when imbibed in the dark it will not germinate unless light is provided. However, if dark imbibition is extended for a period of time or at higher temperatures, scotodormancy can be induced and the seed will not germinate even if it is placed under optimal light conditions or infused with gibberellic acid. We saw that there are two types of dormancy, primary and secondary. So, what is the practical use of studying dormancy? Dormant seeds cause huge losses to the farmer. Large gaps are found in the field due to dormant seeds. Such gaps cannot be gap filled because certification agency do not accept gap filling. Even if gaps are filled, varied maturation occurs and thus even harvest may not be possible. Hence, several methods are prescribed to overcome the dormancy and make the seeds germinable. They are scarification, after ripening, stratification, use of dormancy breaking chemicals, light, leaching, alternating temperatures and priming. Scarification involves injuring the seed coat to make it permeable. After ripening, allow the seeds to be stored for some time to reduce the effects of dormancy. Stratification involves the exposure of seeds to low or high temperature for a period of time to allow the embryo to grow. Chemical compounds like potassium nitrate, thiourea and hormones like gibberellic acid can be infused to overcome dormancy. Light, especially red light, will provide germination in some light requiring seeds. Leaching seeds in running water to wash off inhibitors present in seed coat is also a method to overcome dormancy. Exposing seeds to alternate temperatures or priming are some methods to overcome dormancy. Friends, so far we saw what is germination, the definition of germination and the process involved in germination, and also the three phases of germination and dormancy.